So, have a very high-level game coming up here. Fattymasker versus Soulful. We're going to Amazonia. Looks like we will have a human mirror showdown. On Amazonia, Fatty opting for the standard opener. And as expected, Soulful. Wouldn't be surprised to see Archmage Mirror going down today on beautiful Amazonia. And don't forget, coming up right after this, we do have in Super Bowl versus Spiral, two DreamHack competitors. Be a very, very exciting matchup. Last time we casted Spiral here on the channel was during War 3 Champions Season 7 ending tournament. And Archmage on the way out for both of our players. Fatty is slightly ahead, just by a hair. And what I expect to see here is a very quick camp, baiting the lightning shield, followed by this green camp off to the left. And then depending on if someone wants to be the aggressor, if they feel like they're falling behind, they may opt to be the aggressor. Then typically the army will go here to the orange camp and send militia to the green. That gets you level 3. Level 3, oh, so important in the beginning game of Human Mirror, as well as any matchup, but in particularly here. And what I have seen in some other high-level games is if a human wants to just be the pure aggressor or is potentially falling slightly behind, may run over to the opponent right after this camp, just dive bomb straight into their creeping efforts, try to snipe some creep camps. No lightning shield baited for Soulful. Same will go for Fattymasker as, again, both opponents opt to rush down the lightning shield creep. And then chip away at the rogues. Will be pulling over the green camp as Fatty moving on a little bit quicker here. Fatty is moving quite fast.
Player's forces are under attack.
He's already been started, level 2 already. Meanwhile, Soulful just getting started on the creep camp. 3 farm, no tech started yet. 2 farm, 1 tower. Coming up for Fatty. Fatty already moving on over to the orange camp, so quite ahead, I would say, by about 10 seconds right now. And all of these seconds add up. As Fatty now on the offensive, going to prevent Soulful from starting a creep camp at all. Also potentially catching Soulful on his heels right there. Got the Archmage already down to 60%. Without really Soulful dealing any damage. Now down to 30%. So Soulful really caught on his heels here. Tier 2 has begun. Scout Tower just getting started. Tier 1 still for Fattymasker. Fatty has pushed him back, now has the map control just like he wanted to do. Archmage pretty wounded right now, running around. 35% health. Needs to be very careful. Both Archmages have the same inventory. Circlet, gauntlets, boots.
A player's forces
So well equipped to go fast. However, the objective leader right now is Fatty. Has control of the Kobold camp. Also, Militia creeping behind all of this will get level 3 if he could secure all of these creep kills and just doing tons of damage to Soulful's Archmage. Has to retreat back. As now, Fatty wants control of the rest of the map here. Going to take down the Kobold Orange camp of Soulful and get level 3 for it. Once this Taskmaster is finished. And Fatty with a very strong opening game right here. Although tech lead is going to go to Soulful. Will it pay off? Is really the question here. Fatty does get the level 3 and is going to really start hurting this Archmage. All of these auto attacks now doing up to 35 damage. Finally gets that shop up, gets the scroll of regen, and the clarity's forced into the back of the base. Now level 3 water elementals soon to be followed up. And this is looking pretty grim for Soulful. And this is what the 5 to 10 second lead in the early game can do. And you can see how Fatty is taking full advantage of all momentum he gained in the beginning of this game. Now Soulful playing on the heels, does not have any map control at the moment, hasn't even crept his green. Soulful 2 camps ahead, has the orange and his own green camp. Soulful not going to get level 3 from this either, I believe. And now Fatty can move on, tanking with level 2 water elementals. Going to be able to easily take some of these orange creeps now. Meanwhile, MK on the way for both players. MK very ahead for Soulful, however. It might not matter, as by the time his MK or his army is ready to do any sort of harassment or attack, Fatty's MK is going to be well online and moving on along, creeping. Soulful still looking for that level 3 before he wants the MK to start solo soaking. Will get it from the Sasquatch here, also passing on over a circle and the boots to the Mountain King. Might also want to give him those gauntlets as well. I'm sure he would love those. Archmage's going to get level 3 from this camp. Meanwhile, Fatty ready to hand over some juicy items to the MK. Nice gauntlet and ring. Another gauntlet. Going to need that MK to hurry on up and get over here. Fatty going for the standard double sanctum. Meanwhile, Soulful feeling a little bit behind, feeling the pressure, going to probably work on countering that army right off the get-go. Going to go for Knights Paladin with some priests and mortars, the standard tier 3 mirror human army. Now Fatty's MK is out, ready to take some of these items from the Archmage. The Speedy Boy, who's going on down looking for Soulful, has found him. Gonna start chipping away and removing some of the heal effects from Soulful. Nice Stormbolt cross map there, long range. Gonna be able to almost lock in that surround, but not quite. Meanwhile, Fatty's Archmage in quite a bit of trouble. Soulful trying to lock in that surround. Might be able to get it here with a nice Stormbolt, but Fatty does have the TP. Gonna pop it early, not even waste any time. Not going to be able to TP back any of this army, but maybe going to try to lock in a surround of his own. 1 footy is going to get the 3-point surround with the trees. Soulful's Archmage is now surrounded. Has to TP out if he cannot lock this in. Does get the surround relocked in. Going to pop a TP almost certainly if he... But he wants to play with some fire here. Does wait until the very last minute. Soulful getting on out of here. And now Soulful's got to be careful. Now has to invest some money in some health potions if he wants to continue creeping. Although buying some ivory towers, staffing the Archmage back to get healed up as quickly as possible. Might even want to scroll a regen on top of that to help speed this up. And now the tier 2 army of Fatty coming to fruition. Still rank 0 priest getting that dispel now, as well as control magic. Breaker's going to come up behind this.
A player's forces are under
Sensing no breaker pressure from Soulful, going to grab some sorceresses as well as the knights have began production. MK gets the level 2 he's looking for, but really what the MK needs is the level 3 for that level 2 Stormbolt. I would assume as Soulful, knowing you're going to be going up against Breaker, is going to want to get Bash instead of Thunderclap. And we'll see what Soulful opts to do with his level 2. Might even be waiting to see the army comp of Fatty before taking that level 2 ability. Knights now on the field. As soon as Fatty sees this, he's going to know what he's up against.
A player's forces are under attack.
As expected, Paladin, so the comp of Soulful will almost certainly be Priest, Knights, Mortars. And here comes the workshop to get some of those mortars to deal with the caster backline of Fatty. Fatty coming on in with a pretty strong tier 2 army. 46 to 47 food, relatively even, but that Knight could be the X Factor. Stormbolt onto the Priest, immediately trying to weaken the backline caster army of Fattymasker. Fattymasker in pretty good position here to get some good damage done, but the boys are called from Soulful. Soulful going to come in, surround some of this army, also get some pressure onto the backline. Stormbolt's on to the Archmage. Want to get that surround locked in. Surround is locked in. Invold popped, able to squeeze on out of there. Paladin now on the field might be the X Factor. Going to get some heals off to the melee-heavy army of Soulful at the moment. The boys, the knights, the footies chasing back the army of Fattymasker. Fattymasker squeezing out yet again. That slippery, buttery Archmage able to get out of everything here. But maybe not the same story for the Mountain King. Mountain King also now getting into some congestion. Going to be able to work his way out, battle his way out, and now some auto attacks onto the Archmage of Soulful, but needs to pull out before he gets surrounded himself. Breakers now coming onto the field. 45 food army for Fattymasker, going to retreat back for the moment as Soulful does defend home base. However, did so at the expense of quite a few peasants, and now will be lumber deprived for quite a bit, which will be a little problematic as knights, mortars, priests do cost a little bit of lumber. So we're going to need to get those lumber counts up as soon as possible. Fatty wasting no time, wants to get level 3 on the Mountain King. Still no level 2 trained for Soulful on the Mountain King. Is that correct? Or is War 3 booster bugged out? But I am not seeing a level 2 train. Did take Bash and now Stormbolt. Maybe forgot to train Bash during that last battle. So that battle could have gone even better for Soulful had Bash been trained. And now this is where we're in an interesting scenario. Fatty had most of the advantage for most of the game, but now Soulful able to get a couple Knights on the field. Knights are going to easily be able to dispose of the Spellbreakers. Spellbreakers going to be trying to lock in some surrounds, steal some of this inner fire as well, maybe even control magic some of the water elementals. However, that's a lot of mana already. So what will Fatty use his Spellbreaker mana on? Stealing inner fire, stealing water elementals. Fatty wants to get on to tier 3 himself. Even the gap, one of the injured Spellbreakers did fall, and that's a nice advantage for Soulful to be able to create a 7-food army advantage. And here we go. Soulful has arrived to defend home base. Inner Fire Knights, vicious and scary, going to try to lock in one of the surrounds on the MK. Does lock it in with 3 Knights and the MK. Nice diamond surround by Soulful here. The MK has nothing to save himself. Going to fall. Huge pickoff for Soulful there. Able to lock in the diamond surround. And now Fatty has to be feeling the pressure here. Down to 41 food. No Mountain King. Going to be forced to buy it back from the tavern, spending so many resources. Now not nearly as much gold and lumber to be used to get some of those mortars, some of those knights, and suddenly the pendulum swinging now in Soulful's favor. Going for the harder creep camps now, going for the Granite Golem camp. Wants a piece of the red items. What a game one, back and forth down to the 14-minute mark as Fatty wants to push Soulful back into the base, but Soulful is not going to blink. Wants this creep camp first. But how much time can pass before Soulful needs to come back and respect this? TP is used. Gonna maybe TP right on top of the army. Try to get as much damage in as possible. But Fatty going to TP out as well. Not able to really take much. Just the shop. Almost the Arcane Tower, but not quite. Both players have used their TPs. Gonna need to buy a couple more. Fatty already buying another one. And thinking about what's next, the red camp obviously a target for both players. As the Unholy Aura on the MK from the last red camp. Going to be a big advantage, giving some extra move speed and HP regen. Now the Creep Jack initiated from Fatty. Fatty looking to turn this game back into his favor. Has a nice bash and stun onto the Paladin. Paladin way out of position there. Going to need to get back and somehow get healed up. Priest going to need to start focusing on the defender right away. Locking in the surround on his own Paladin to prevent any sort of further attack damage on him. Need to get that Paladin healed up. He is going to be the difference maker in this next battle. The hero levels are pretty much tied. And it will be the Paladin that might push you over the edge. Soulful looking to take back the red camp again as Fattymasker moving on to the western side of the map. Going to check this red camp, see that it is already taken, and quite unfortunate for Fattymasker as now he must realize the both red camps will be going to Soulful. Huge items going to Soulful, and Fattymasker just going to go on and attack for Soulful back, who has the TP. Going to be able to get back really quickly after he claims the Cloak of Flames onto the Paladin. So now these heroes looking quite scary. The items looking really scary for Soulful. Soulful going to come back and defend home base immediately, and Fattymasker TP's out right away, wasting no time, just constantly back and forth. Fatty calls it GG. Soulful takes it. Beautifully played by Soulful there in the mid-game to late game. Really looking like it was going Fatty's way, especially in the beginning, but Soulful was able to take it back. Really impressive games there. Gonna look and see if we have a game name. They win. I'm not sure if it's the same game name or they added a 1. Let's just try the same one. Maybe Soul 2. There it is. Cool. All right, and great game from both competitors there. Soulful taking game 1. Update the scoreboards here. And update Booster as well. And yeah, Slay Day, we back. And again, sorry for the hiccups before. Might have caused some disruption for everybody. But had the most unfortunate internet outage. So that was that's never fun, especially a couple minutes before you're about to do a nice cast. And that was a great human mirror matchup. Really glad I did not miss it. So with that, we are going to be moving on along to game 2 of our human mirror matchup of the day. So how y'all doing today? It's Sunday. Time we got 11:20. Hope everyone's enjoying their weekend. We have a great series after this in Super Bowl versus Spiral. Very high level play, both DreamHack competitors, so we'll be moving into that game next. But first, we got to see the conclusion of this nail-biter of a series, Soulful versus Fattymasker. Soulful, 1738 MMR. Fatty, 1628 MMR. And we're going to have Game 2 played on Autumn Leaves. Last game, a real roller coaster. Fatty taking the early game, had a very strong early game. Was able to get the creep camps faster, was able to put the pressure on better, had the better auto attack damage on the Archmage. But Soulful didn't give up, didn't prevail, didn't make any overextensions, minimized the losses, and pushed right through Tier 2 directly to Tier 3. Was able to get Knights, Paladin, Mortars, Casters out. Got some really nice surrounds locked in. Was able to get a couple hero pickoffs there. And at the end, Fatty just tapped out before it got too late. Saw the superior Tier 3 army online. Knew he was quite a bit behind. Didn't make the right pressure timings on Tier 2. What you really want to do there, if you can, is if you do have the theory or the knowledge that your opponent is going right to Tier 3, need to punish it. Because they will be quite behind on Tier 2 units. Investing all of that gold into the tech, not having double sanctum. Both players sending their scout footmen cross Autumn Leaves. Want to figure out what we are up against. AM versus AM again. Footies cross at the tavern. Soulful has the slightly faster footy. Going to be going for the troll camp to start.
A player's forces are under attack.
Meanwhile, Fatty wants to get a couple auto attacks onto the footy and going to go for the natural expo first. Not quite sure we'll see an actual expo attempt in Human Mirror, but going for the expo camp nonetheless. Side, thank you for the follow. Archmage going to pick up Gauntlets of Strength and the Tome of Strength right behind that. Going to easily be able to clear out this camp. Meanwhile, Soulful has showed up, wants to get a piece of this as well. Maybe even get some militia pickoffs. Will get at least one.
Forces are under attack.
If there isn't a deny, and no deny from Fatty, going to claim one of the peasants. So, XP advantage still in Soulful's favor. Also, a nice deny from Fattymasker onto the footman, preventing any unnecessary XP from finding its way over to Soulful. Side, anytime. These games are really fun to cast, and we're in the middle of a great series right now, Fatty versus Soulful. Really exciting game one. Went back and forth all game. Another nice deny by Fatty. Really sharp attention to detail here, preventing that level 2 for Soulful.
A player's forces are
Level
under
2
attack.
is so important in this game. Getting that Brilliance Aura early means more water elementals, means more pressure, means easier creeping. All of this adds up to a very strong early mid game. Tier 2 on the way for both players, right about equal. Arcane Vaults also coming up. Lumber Mill for Fattymasker here. Not quite sure if he feels he is lumber deprived or simply wants some guard towers. Meanwhile, back at the action scene here, Fatty continuing to get some auto attacks onto Soulful, down to 93 health. Needs to be quite careful here. Water Elementals on the field doing a bunch of damage to the undefended footies. No footmen have defend just yet. Level 2 awarded to Soulful. That Brilliance Aura really going to help out here in this early game. However, Fatty putting the pressure on. Needs to be really careful here. Not overextend. One more auto attack away from death. And Fatty going to chase it back, and a nice block farm with Soulful there, preventing the Archmage from getting in. Heads up play from Soulful there, preventing potentially a huge disaster of an early game. Really nice, sharp play there from Soulful, showing his experience.
Forces are under attack.
However, a couple footies are going to be able to slip through, trying to get back to the Archmage, who did pop the Scroll of Regen, did pop the Clarity Pot, so within a couple seconds here, Archmage going to be pretty healthy. Although the farm has been broken down, Fatty looking to press through, maybe cancel some of those heal and mana over time passive effects on the Archmage. Now no longer has Clarity or Scroll of Regen. Gonna look to get rid of this shop as well. Fatty putting a lot of pressure on the early game presence of Soulful. Has the peasants all continuing to work, bringing the damaged peasants back, trying not to lose any, and now the auto attack damage onto the Archmage of Fatty. A nice gloves here, just dying to be picked up and worn, but nobody wants them. Not today. Injured units being microed back. And Militia going to creep out the Wolf Camp. Panda purchased for Soulful. Does not want the MK. Wants to get the early second hero presence. Meanwhile, Fatty going standard. Going for that MK. Hoping that the bolt surrounds can be locked in. And the Panda might be the first unit he has his eyes on. Wanting to get that lock-in Stormbolt. Panda quite easy to surround. Has the big hitbox. But has the boots of speed. Might be able to wiggle on out of any immediate danger. Cloak of Shadows going to go to the Panda as well as the Tome. Meanwhile, back at the north side, Fatty continuing to creep up. MK now online. Thank you for the follow. New hero, Masuda. Clarity Potion purchased for Mr. Moonin Ironcliff, the Mountain King. Should be an interesting matchup here. Breath of Fire, not very effective against the Breaker army. if that is the choice of Fatty, as we do see the double Sanctum coming online yet again. Breaker's really great at dealing with pandas. Can drain that mana. Can live through all the Breath of Flames. Nice deny there by Soulful, preventing any XP from getting awarded to Soulful. Soulful, nice Breath of Fire onto the army. Does get the level 2. Probably going to be training Drunken Haze as well. Get some misses and igniting of the Breath of Flames. Now Mountain King here standing his ground. Wants to get another pick off on the footies of Soulful. Over those Breaths of Fire. So vicious, so hot. Needs to be careful. Now turning attention over to the Archmage. Archmage looking to stay in the battle if he can. Get that level 3. Both Archmages getting so close to that critical level 3. Priest coming out for Fatty as well to help stabilize the human army. One injured footy probably going to make it home. And again, Soulful going right to level 3. Gonna have the Knights coming out. Paladin already being trained, and we saw how deadly that presence of the Paladin was last game. Fattymasker not able to keep up. Gonna go for the shop again. Wants to take the shop down. Injured footy, unfortunately brought into battle. Going to be taken down immediately. Pay the price for being out of position. MK gets a nice Stormbolt onto the Archmage of Soulful. Soulful falling so far. Does get Staff back home. Staff of Sanctuary on the Panda. Another advantage of having that tier 3 early. Getting access to those tier 3 items. And the Archmage of Fatty now getting surrounded. Gonna need to pop a scroll of TP back home. No stun threats at the moment. Pops it last second. Hoping to get a little bit of value by sticking around. And again, a very back and forth battle. Calling the boys as minimal losses as possible. Paladin now on the field. Knights on the way. As tier 3 under construction for Fattymasker. Again, a nice battle of the minds here in Human Mirror. It's also common. Do you stay on tier 2, Mass Breakers? Do you go right to tier 3? Get the Knights, get the counters to the Breakers, get the Paladin and the powerful level 3 items like Staff of Sanctuary, even the Orb of Fire to minimize some of the healing from the Holy Light. It's becoming more and more common nowadays. I'm seeing so many humans going right to tier 3. When the past, even the recent past, it's been Breaker Wars. The meta may be shifting in this direction more commonly than we may think. Even in my games at the lower levels, seeing a lot of tier 3 humans. Gonna let the Panda Paladin combo get leveled up here. Archmage wanting to come in for one of the smaller creeps. Gonna get that level 3. He's looking for Pendant of Energy. Really gonna love that. MK also looking to get up to level 3 as well. A level 3 MK will be extremely powerful. Using some Thunderclap onto the creeps here. Wanting to finish these creeps up as quickly as possible. Not a lot of DPS, though, so going to be taking these creep camps down slowly, and this does matter. Not having a lot of DPS, taking down the creep camps slowly, even though you want to pull your Archmage back, so much damage comes from the Archmage. Need to be aware of that. The quicker you can get these creep camps done, the quicker you get to the red camps, the quicker your secondary heroes are getting level 3. Paladin now out for Fatty, looking to even the score with the trifecta Archmage MK Paladin versus Archmage Panda Paladin. We'll see who prevails and who is the X Factor, MK or the Panda. Going for the laboratory. Meanwhile, the item that will be granted, Helm of Valor, going to go onto the Panda, fits nicely. Nice strength and agility buff for Mr. Panda. Meanwhile, Archmage opting to stay in the creep efforts now. seeing as the DPS was a little low. Knights now on the field, 50 food to 51 food. Soulful now breaking upkeep, pushing it to 58 right away.
A player's
That
forces
production
are
coming
under
from a
attack.
Knight and Mortar team. Fatty opting to stay under upkeep, is going to run into this army. He may feel he needs to break upkeep sooner rather than later. Needs to watch out, needs to be careful. Does not have a TP to get out of here. Cannot get caught out of position. Aqua Reincarnation up for grabs. Paladin does grab it just in time. And the Panda with the lightning shield going to chase back the Caster Army. Caster Army does get it dispelled and going to be able to run back around. Panda now way out of position. Could be taken advantage of as some of the priests getting whittled down by Fattymasker. Another vicious lightning shield onto the Panda of Soulful, looking to whittle away down some of the army of Fattymasker. Fatty now down to 44 food. Soulful's food count is just far superior at the moment. Another Stormbolt onto the Mortar team, looking to whittle down some of these easier targets. Some of the boys called for Fatty. Boys on the way down. Vicious Breath of Fire from the Panda, whittling down all of the militia down to half health. Paladin for Soulful, now level 3, going to be getting out some very potent Holy Lights onto these Knights, and you can see the Panda now just getting healed back up pretty much to full. And if you're Fattymasker, you have to start feeling the end may be near. The Paladin still has so much healing. That Panda just seems invulnerable at this point. Breaths of fire everywhere. And another wonderful game by Soulful. Looking like he is going to claim game 2 at the moment. No more Holy Lights, though. Going to be a couple seconds before one's online. Going to be used on the Panda immediately. No, instead used on the Knight. Oh, as he does have the Potion of Greater Healing still in stock, the Panda just has so much effective health. And just the limitless health pool of the Panda via Holy Light, via the now 500 health Potion of Greater Healing. Fatty, as well as you're playing, I feel that there is just no way out right now unless you can get some really, really nice surrounds. But Soulful is not making many mistakes. Going to be so tough. Fatty forcing a fight, trying to throw Stormbolts onto the casters, trying to get some pickoffs. But there's so many weak units for Fattymasker. Knights falling left and right. The vicious breaths of fire. So much to deal with. Now down to 40 food. Now 36 food. The army of Fatty is just dwindling. Falling. More by the second. Mortar teams in the back. Soulful has a little bit of everything. Archmage of Fattymaster. Now the next target down so low. Mortar team maybe trying to finish it off, but not quite, as now Soulful pushing back in what might be the final stand of Fattymasker. Arcane Tower going out onto the Panda, trying to avoid any breaths of fires. The Paladin falls. GG is called. Fatty, fortunately, couldn't get it done. Soulful takes the series 2-0.